Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Anatomy of a Fight, the show where we analyze matches and point out the good, the bad, and the ugly. First of all, I must apologize for last night because I was unable to record. I was a bit upset about losing first round against Choate, I think I spelled his name correctly, in Teams Rank Stars Classical tournament, and my wife decided, let's go out for a pint. And we went to Mojo Music Club. It's an awesome club. If you happen to pass by through Bucharest, Mojo Music Club is a British-owned pub club. It has karaoke. It has a bar where you can drink some beer and watch some awesome football matches. It's got some basement where neat stuff happen. Each week there's a new theme, like stand-up comedy, silent disco night. There's also a band playing, so feel free to drop by whenever you're in town. So this past week has been quite insane. We've played a lot of conscription. By a lot, I mean a lot. There's a lot of conscription. Thank you guys. You were awesome. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing your decks. Some of them I managed to pick up and play with them, showcase them in this past week. Was so incredible. And also, we've just passed 400 subscribers. Yoo-hoo! So we are on the road to greatness. So let us announce the winner. If you guys remember, this week, actually last week, we had a giveaway of 60 card pack bundle. So the question was, what would you use conscription with? So without any further ado, let us announce the winner. Just quickly, let me get my number. And the winner is Stella Skiple. I think I pronounce it correctly. Thank you for your content. I like it very much. Deck to use conscription with would be Veteran with Commanders. Thank you for a comment. Congratulations, you've just won a 60-pack bundle code. Hopefully we'll get you started if you lack on cards. Remember, it's Morrowind packs, so if you lack on core cards, sorry there. Nothing can do for now. So yeah, please reach out to me either via Reddit direct message or Twitter direct message, or leave a comment down below with your in-game name so I can enter chat with you and send you the 60-pack bundle code. Remember, you can activate it on the Bethesda.net. Just log in and go to my account, redeem a code, and submit the code there, and log back into the game, and you will get the reward. So, what should we do next week? Unfortunately, we don't have any more 60 packs bundle to give out, but we still have a lot of 2-pack bundle codes. So next week will be a 2-pack bundle code giveaway, and I'm thinking that the theme should be, considering the latest reveal from the guys on Twitch, from CVH, and from the guys at Bethesda, the new cards, some new pack is coming, containing a lot of cards that will destabilize the current meta, because it has become, and I completely agree with it, a bit toxic. Everybody's playing conscription, everybody's playing God knows what, so much control, so much aggro, and I think these cards will be a nice addition. As CVH said, each card will be unique. I've never seen before with stats or attributes like summon and whatever, banish and stuff. We only got a peek at one card, Piercing Twilight, I believe. It's basically another cast into time, so I think with this card, Tribunal gets 6 copies of Cast into Time, 3 of them which can actually banish stuff from your graveyard and deck. This includes actions. Remember, you can banish Tullius Conscription with this, and I think the entire, I believe there's 11 cards, will be a game breaker. So the next theme will be how would you use Piercing Twilight? In which decks? Remember, it's a blue card. Yeah, feel free to drop a comment, subscribe, and leave a comment by answering the question. And next Saturday on a new episode of Anatomy of a Fight, I will announce the winner for the 2-pack bundle code. So yeah, don't forget, you can also submit videos to me, play matches, record them. If you've got, I don't know, incredible wins, incredible combos pulled off, some quite nice, how should I say, win conditions, never seen before, Michael Bay explosions, pew pew. Don't forget, you can record your match, upload it to Dropbox, create a share link, and send it to me via direct message either on Reddit, Twitter, or Discord. And I will showcase your match in Anatomy of a Fight and make you guys famous. So today on Anatomy of a Fight, we are going to be looking at round 1 of Team Rankstar Classic, the one that I lost against Choate. I think it was a pretty close match, so please enjoy the video and the commentary, and I'll see you guys next week. And we're looking at the first game. It was his warrior versus my control Lalu. You remember in Aine's conscription Lalu, the control deck. So please feel free to leave comments below if you notice any misplay on my part, anything that could have, I don't know, turned the tide, win me the match. I'm constantly trying to improve, get better, and win more tournaments, or at least get into higher positions. What I noticed, I usually get a good starting hand with it. Unfortunately, this match, this initial game, was a loss for me. My starting hand was pretty busted. I had nothing to play, except this first Vital's Guild recruit, which basically did almost nothing. And because it is a warrior, it can just put back on stuff that are even bigger. So on each Magicka, if you play out your max Magicka each round, you can fill the board with crazy stuff. This includes Mammoth, this includes Soul of Revenge. There's a lot of stuff in a warrior deck. And as you've seen, I've already drawn all 3 of my vanguards. They're good because they have charge, but not against warrior. At least they're good later on when you can sacrifice them and summon Stormcloak Battalion. But right now they're just useless. So my only strategy here was to get pieces in the field lane, hopefully forcing my opponent to trade, but without any guard. It was just a straight up loss, especially when Reaver came onto the board. There was no way for me to remove anything at this point. I also had Blue-Green Giant. I drew Unstoppable Rage, and I was unable to use it. Basically, if Unstoppable Rage would have been drawn using the Thieves Guild recruit and get it for a discount, probably I would have had a chance if I would have drawn, I don't know, Ravenous Hunger or something else. At least my opponent was willing to trade, but that Sower of Revenge, that was just shut down. So I have 6 Magicka. I can only play my Fighter's Guild Recruit. I have a lot of creatures that basically do nothing. So this was an incredible match. Perfect draw by the Sir Choate. That's his in-game name. And being 16 HP, if Sower dies, that's 5 more damage. If Sower attacks and then gets sacrificed by another creature, that's 10 damage. And Reeve will deal 5 damage. Young Mammoth will deal 4. That field lane is, we can call it the HUD locker. So my strategy here was, if Sower of Revenge sacrifices, then maybe, just maybe, I can play out next turn Crusader's Assault, get Reeve out of the picture, and just leave the Mammoth. But I think he saw right through my my disguise. Decided to sacrifice the Mammoth and keep the Sower, deal 5 damage, deal 5 more with Reeve. And that was it. I've got to cast into time, but it's a little too late. So if cast into time would have been present, maybe on turn 5, maybe something something like this could have been avoided. It's not much that I can do, just try to kill off the Orc Clan captain. And that's it. I can only, I don't know, kill something with Crushing Blow, only if I would have had the ring. So that's what happens when Warrior gets the ring, you die. So, because I lost with my Alalu deck, the tournament was something like King of the... I used to call it King of the Hill, but in more recent terms, it's called Last Hero Standing. So what this means is you get... It was a 4-deck format tournament, meaning you bring 4 decks and... each participant bans the opponent's 1 deck of his choosing. So I brought the Conscript Halalu, the Warrior, the Catapult Warrior, the Aggro Veteran, and my Ajax Tilvani. Ajax stands for Altar, Journey, Amulet, Conscription. It's got loads of stuff. My opponent brought a monk, an aggressive monk, a siege scout, yeah, a catapult scout, a catapult warrior, and a mid-battle mage. And my ban was the mid-battle mage. My opponent was had banned my Tilvani deck. So right now we are looking at the warrior versus warrior. May the best top decker win. And straight off the bat, you can already see my opponent has the ring again. And there's not much that I can do. something that saved me early on was that buffed up Barrel Stalker, which kept me on the floating line. Just enough so I could develop my board. I've got 2 catapults in the shadow lane and 1 Windkeep Spellsword. My opponent has a Dragontail Savior plus an Orc Clan Captain, which will trade into the catapult to avoid both catapults firing at once. And this was a cue for me to start pounding stuff. That shadow lane, that field lane, sorry, is very dangerous. Why? Because it has a Barrel Stalker that can basically just replenish 2 HP. 2 HP is consistent and can turn the tide of war, leaving, I don't know, rounds, turns like 1-off lethal, and can cost you the match. And that that automaton is a trigger for, you guessed it, Wood Orc Headhunter, because Wood Orc Headhunter gains charge whenever there's an orc on the battlefield, and the automaton can be any card it wants. It's a joker. So right now there are not many possibilities for us, because we had 6 Magicka, and with 6 Magicka I could only play either 2 Dragontail Saviors, which would not have saved me. Basically, next turn would have been lethal if not for that Sword of Revenge. So I decided to go face. You've seen that I've buffed up my Windkeep Spellsword just because the catapult can easily be targeted and destroyed, and it was kind of a bait that worked, because you'll soon see that was an incredible RNG from my opponent. By sacrificing the Hunting Spirit into the Sword of Revenge, it was 1 in 5 chances that the Barrel Stalker would get the buff. So my opponent added 5 HP and did not die this turn by killing Sword of Revenge. Sword of Revenge dies and deals 5, leaving my opponent back to 4 HP. And right now, the question is, can I deal proper damage and take this round home? And the answer was yes. Specifically because I buffed up the Windkeep Spellsword. My opponent just traded 2 creatures into that. And what this meant was that I could use my catapult freely, because I had 3 cards that I could play. There go the 2 Dragontail Saviors that I had in my hand. An Earthbone Spinner would have been great. But I didn't draw it. So what I could do is push on, leave my opponent with 2 HP. Or trade in the Orc Clan Captain to the Windkeep Spellsword. Why? Because my opponent has had actually 2, 5 and 2 that would have been 9 damage. So any weapon would have just wasted me on the spot. A Steel Scimitar or a dagger, it would have been shut down. And I was really lucky because my opponent, even though at 7 Magicka, did not have weapons on board. So this was just the end of the match. And currently the score was 1-1. And now my opponent has to get rid of his warrior deck. So, not sure if I explained the rules are King of the Hill, sorry, last hero standing, meaning first match everybody is blind picking his initial deck, and the winner gets to keep his playing deck. You are not allowed to change it. You have to play with it until you lose with it. So first match was won by Choate with the warrior. I lost my Olalu deck, played my warrior, won with my warrior, and now we are looking at game number 3. Siege Scout versus Siege Warrior. Finally, we managed to have the ring this time. And I decided to block the shadow lane completely by destroying the catapult, shutting down any possibility of triggering it next round, and buffing up my Molekul Gatekeeper 255, basically surviving that young mammoth. However, that goblin, that goblin hit me right in the feels. But I had already enough stuff in my hand so the Bleakos Troll just thrown into the shadow lane would be dealing 5 damage against my opponent's 3. My opponent was running Mudcrab Merchant. And looks like he was preparing for something. There was no way that I could have cleaned the field lane. And my HP was starting to get lower by the turn. Right now, my opponent is 30 HP and I'm just at 27. So decided enough with the Cruel Fire Blooms. Let's get down to business, dropping 7 attack into the shadow lane, trying to start the race. And right now, this scout deck was starting to show its colors. A pretty good deck. Just look at it. Goblin buffed siege scout deck. My only option here to survive and deal a lot of damage was Sword of Revenge. So right now I'm way behind. My opponent is 21 and I am at 16. I will be receiving 11 more damage, leaving me with just 5 HP. But instead of racing, my opponent decided it was better to get rid of Sword of Revenge. This leveled up our HP and trade the goblin with the young mammoth. Problem is, I had drawn unexpectedly another Sword of Revenge. Down to 11 HP. I decided it's time to deal more face. Try to win the race. Ah! And left my opponent with just 10 HP. And by my calculations, this was just right, because Field Lane receives Sword of Revenge and the Barrow Stalker. Why? Because I decided, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice it because I don't need to die next turn. Summoning it into the Shadow Lane, that wouldn't have helped at all. So by getting Sword of Revenge in the Field Lane plus Barrow Stalker, 2 guards, my opponent has to trade with them. So right now, I think my opponent was calculating if there is by any chance a way to go face and take match number 2. But there wasn't. And what he started doing was trading. So the Sword of Revenge will die along with the Barrow Stalker, but my opponent will be receiving 5 damage from Sword of Revenge Last Gasp effect. And my 6 damage creatures in the Shadow Lane should be able to close the game. There we go. 5 damage from Soa's effect. And another Mudcrab Merchant. So Mudcrab Merchant basically just gives me Dagoth Dagger. Trying to get rid of creatures, trying to start trading, but the game ended because I had a Mortal Gatekeeper. And not much that he would have been able to do. Yep. So this game ended when I dropped Mortal Gatekeeper. Yep. So now the score was 2-1 for me, and I was feeling hyped because there is a chance for me to go to round 2 of the tournament. However, going round 2 there would have been a possibility of running into Flomega, which is my teammate from the Blood Warriors Guild competitive team. And this could have been the last match. But this monk deck, man, had some crazy stuff. So there's Goblin Skulk, there's Shackle, there's Curse, there's Cliff Racer, and there's Swift Strike. And I basically lost this and the next one to Swift Strike. And it also has Monk Strike to gain back that precious HP. I could have probably played different with that, with the Hand Cultist. So my play here was to get the Morgul Gatekeeper out to protect that cultist, and buffing himself. I could have buffed the Elex Sorcerer, but a well-placed Curse could have just removed it from the board without the ward going away and buffing him like crazy. So right now, my only play would have been Sword of Revenge into the Shadow Lane. And my in my discard pile only had a Morgul Gatekeeper and a Sword of Revenge following this turn. So on turn 5, using my last ring charge, I was trying to get Soul back. Didn't work out. So out of 2 creatures, I drew the Morgul Gatekeeper, and you'll soon see such a misfortune that could have turned the tides and facilitate my win, my last win, going into round 2. And there's the Curse, so good thing I did not buff the Elex Sorcerer. And what happened here is a Corner Club Gambler that I have no answer to. And here comes Necromancer bringing, no Soul. I was so hoping for a Soul of Revenge. One of my mistakes here was not buffing the Morgul Gatekeeper. A buffed Necro could have wasted this this Corner Club Gambler. A guard well placed in the Shadow Lane. And basically shut down any way for me to go face. I was able to sacrifice a Stormcloak Vanguard. So another one of my misplays here, which I noticed right after the match, was that I didn't play Ash Berserker. Ash Berserker could have saved me a bit. So I only had a Woodhawk Headhunter. This is the only one in my deck. And I hit a prophecy. Now next turn, judging by my calculations, looks like lethal. There's like 6 and 9 more. That's 15 damage. So the only hope that I had was that maybe I could have get a prophecy. No prophecy, no Morgul Gatekeeper to save us. And yep, game number 4 was taken by my opponent. So because I lost both the Alalu and Warrior deck and my Telvanni was banned, my only remaining deck to play was the Red One. It was, I think, Trader Joe's Red One. Highly aggressive. Unfortunately, I did not draw proper cards again. So Trader Joe's Red One is aggressive if you get perfect draw, or you can also play mid-range-ish by trading in early with some of your opponent's creatures and gain some blood magic spells using the on-day Clan Sorcerer. And basically what happened next was I was unable to get rid of that Corner Club Gambler, and my opponent just got a lot of cards. Even though he's at 2 now, not being able to remove that, we'll just get into 2 more and 1. That's 5 cards in hand, which is much more than I have currently. Down to 26 HP, 22 to be precise. And because this deck is green dominant, my opponent had no trouble of activating every summon ability from his deck, because all these effect cards and stuff like that were dependent on having a green card at the top. I could have only got up the Shadow Lane. He kept drawing a lot of cards, a lot of 0 costs. That's Shackle, that's Curse. And right now I was a bit in up my neck. Because this took care so beautifully of my warrior, went right under it, was unable to make decent trades and keep above floating line. And that's just basically what happened to the Red One here also. Unable to make decent trades, unable to keep the board, and even though I drew a Barrow Stalker, I could only get rid of that Goblin Skulk using my my Reeve. And the Field Lane, use it to construct something. But with that big presence there, there's not much that I could have played. Maybe Soa, but didn't draw any Soa Revenge. So I thought initially that the Barrow Stalker and Young Mammoth would be enough to block that field lane, but a well-placed Monk Strike, plus you get it. I was so blinded that I forgot my opponent run Swift Strike. And that was it. 3-2 to Choate, and I was out. So, thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you know, if you saw that I made a mistake and didn't see it, you saw it, please leave a comment. Trying to improve here, trying to get better. Don't forget to participate in our next week giveaway. 2-pack bundle code, subscribe and leave a comment. What would you use Piercing Twilight with? So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. See you guys next week. Cheers.